Danny's come to meet expert genealogist Laura Berry, who's agreed to work on his family tree to see if she can help him solve the French mystery.
So, Laura, my 4 times great-grandfather, Charles Buttervant, I was led to believe was French.
Well, I have done a bit of research, as you can see from this family tree here.
OK.
And you're at the bottom. And then we've got your 4 times great-grandfather, Charles Buttervant, is here.
Here he is.
I've managed to go back a little bit further, but I'm afraid I haven't been able to find any French ancestry in these immediate generations here. Although I have managed to find something quite interesting going back through Charles's mother, Anne Gosnold, who came from a really prominent Suffolk family. And if you work up the tree to Robert Gosnold, who is your 10 times great-grandfather.
10 times great. I love this. This is 10 times great-grandfather, Robert Gosnold. Wow.
And he was born in 1611 and died in 1658. And actually, on his baptism record, dating from 1611, it was written in Latin, and it is quite difficult to read. But
no,
there's
I can't do a Latin.
It's all right. I've not got it.
Oh, good.
But he, it does say that his father, Robert Gosnold, was an armiger, and I don't know if that phrase means anything to you.
I wish I was intelligent enough to say yes, but no, it doesn't. It means no. I don't know what it means. What does it mean?
Well, it's interesting because it suggests that he was part of the landed gentry and that he had a coat of arms. We've got a picture of it here.
Wow. Finally, some money in my family. So I've been led to believe there was money in my family, and it's been the complete opposite so far. Shame it was in the 17th century. So Robert's me man. OK. I'm hoping he's Keiko Bako. And that in Cockney sort of means really rich.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like caked. That would be quite exciting. I need to find out more about this geezer, don't I?
Well,
I'm hoping he's a proper geezer, like proper.
What's interesting about your 10 times great-grandfather's dates, you know, he was alive in the 1640s and 1650s. He would have been an adult during the English Civil War, and the landed gentry did tend to play quite prominent roles in the English Civil War, so I think he would be a really interesting person to investigate a bit further.
Robert Gosnold. Sounds posh. So I'm very excited. Robert Gosnold possibly could have fought in the English Civil War. and it's exciting because, you know, I want a real man. I want a bit of, I want a leader of men in my life. And I need some good news because I've had some pretty heavy stuff up until this point.
Danny has travelled to Oxford to meet Professor Mark Stoyle, a Civil War historian.
I know this is a very old pub, the oldest pub in Oxford, but why are we here?
Well, Oxford at this time is absolutely rammed with people. So there are, you know, the normal townsfolk, and there are also thousands of soldiers.
Yeah.
So we can be quite certain this pub would have had soldiers billeted in it. I know a certain amount about Robert Gosnold, and he was in the English Civil War.
He was.
He himself might even have popped into this pub. He would certainly have walked
He would have
around
popped
Oxford
into
Street.
this pub. Of course he was in here. Yeah, I love that.
So this is the kind of, you know, ambience.
That gives me a little shiver up the spine. That does, to think that, you know, he could have been knocking about in here.
Danny's ancestor, Colonel Robert Gosnold, fought in the bloody English Civil War, which began in 1642 and saw nearly 200,000 people lose their lives. Supporters of King Charles I, the Royalists, were pitted against the parliamentarians. After a number of defeats, the King's army were on the run and finally retreated to Oxford in 1646. By this stage, only the most loyal troops were still standing by Charles I, and Robert Gosnold was among them.
And the fact that he's decided to put himself into Oxford and defend the King's capital, even when things are going so badly for Charles, shows that he's sort of an uber-royalist, an uber-cavalier, if you like.
Well, I'm not really a royalist.
Yeah.
None of my family are really. I don't know why I'm not a royalist, mate, but now I want to be a royalist for some reason. I feel like I should be.
This is an image of Oxford as it was at the time. It shows you the incredible earthworks that the royalists had built around it. And this fortress was about to be attacked by the strongest army in the British Isles.
Outnumbered completely, yeah.
Completely. These are the parliamentarian troops.
Yeah, look at them all, yeah, just waiting to pounce.
And Robert is in there somewhere.
You're probably in here.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it, I love it.
As the parliamentarians advanced ever closer, the king disguised himself and escaped Oxford in April 1646. He was eventually arrested and executed. Charles left behind his loyal troops, who were forced to negotiate the final surrender.
Even at this point, when all is clearly lost, Robert himself and his sort of close comrades are not keen to surrender. Even though there's virtually no hope left to them, they still want to hold out.
He was game as you like.
Yeah. He's taking royalism about as far as it can be taken. The loyalty that these men are showing is incredible, really.
We've definitely got that in our family, you know.
Yeah.
It's about heart and spirit. And this seems to be a recurring theme for me.
Yeah.
You know, battling against the odds and still coming out the other side. He's a force, mate. He's a powerful, powerful man. And I'm hopelessly in love with him. So, Robert Gosnold is my hero at this point. What a man. King Charles I obviously had his head chopped off. But what happened to Robert? You know, what was his fate? That's what I'm intrigued about.
Danny has come to Robert Gosnold's village, Otley in Suffolk, to meet local historian Stephen Potts.
Stephen,
Danny,
how are you?
I'm very well. Pleased to meet you.
Pleasure, pleasure.
Welcome to Otley.
Thank you. So, Stephen, Robert Gosnold, what a man. Absolutely fascinated by this character. I've learnt a bit about him. Is there any more you can tell me about him?
Well, good place to start is to come here and to Otley Hall and see exactly where he lived.
Oh, wow. So this is Robert Gosnold's house. I'm not ready for this, Stephen. I'm really not ready for this. Oh, wow. This is the most beautiful house I've ever seen, I think.
This is one of the finest Grade 1 listed houses in the whole of the county. Yeah.
This is up there. Is that one of his peacocks, or... do they bite peacocks, by the way?
Don't think so.
I know that Robert was an uber royalist. I know he was on the losing side in the war. We all know King Charles I's fate. I don't know what happened to Robert. Was he imprisoned? I mean...
No, they didn't imprison the royalists, but they did exploit them. So they would have taken money from their estates during the Civil War, and they set up a system whereby they could fine them because what they needed more than anything else was money.
Yeah.
There's lots of documentation that still exists that shows what happened to him.
What date is it?
This is dated 1st of September 1646, so this is just a few months after the war has ended.
To the Honourable Committee at Goldsmiths Hall for compositions with delinquents.
Do you know what that means?
No.
So anybody who was a royalist and supported Charles was a delinquent.
Right, OK.
We've got the transcript there.
Ah, this is more a bit of me, OK. He prays a direction to the committee in the country to pay the arrears of various rents and annuities for the time they have received the rents and profits of his lands, that he is indebted £1,200, wow, that his houses are decayed and spoiled to the value of £500, and his woods cut down and wasted to the value of £1,000. Fine is £600. What we talking in today's money?
Difficult to put it in terms of today's money, but we're certainly talking about the equivalent of several £100,000.
So they've hit him for severe reddies, as you'd say in East London. Severe reddies.
Severe reddies, yeah.
I like the fact you just said that.
This would have hurt him tremendously.
And they knew he'd come from wealth, so they've hit him hard, didn't they?
Yep, they want the money. But he ends up mortgaging, remortgaging, and so on. And finally, after his death, his heirs have no choice but to sell the land on.
So they basically just lost everything, really, because they were royalists.
Yeah,
Just snatched away from them.
yeah.
All this beauty.
So at this point, the Gosnolds are no longer landed gentry. They have no land, they go down the social scale, and no hope of ever getting back to where they were before.
Yeah. I knew it was all too good to be true. There's never really been any money in my family at all. You know.
Don't despair. Robert's mother, so your Colonel Robert's mother, was a Tolmash.
A what?
A Tolmash, Anne Tolmash. And the Tolmash family are still a landowning family, in fact, in the very next village to here, to this day.
I should go to the next village then and cause some chaos.
Danny has discovered that the Gosnells are related to the Tolmash family via his 11 times great-grandmother, Anne Tolmash, the mother of Colonel Robert Gosnold.